seed, giving them a lot of items early, but at the same time not having them check the entire world for that last item.
Yeah, I hear you. I'd like to, personally, I would like to see a seed where we see a nice balance of routing and execution. I'd like to see all those skills on play here. And looks like we are going to be off. First item is going to be just 5 rupees. Little bit of money, but not much to help.
Yeah, and this standard tournament does have the weapons randomized from the uncle, so we're not guaranteed to have a sword here. In fact, it's not even likely to get a sword here. So what kind of weapon do you think we're gonna start off?
Oh boy, well, I'm partial to the bomb start myself, just because it really showcases a lot of practice and execution, but we will see here. Ooh, this is my second favorite start, Cane of Burna. It's a little bit more difficult because you have to be very conservative with your magic. You will not have a lot of opportunity to farm bombs, so our players are going to have to be very careful in the opening sequence.
Yeah, for sure. You don't have a lot of room at all to do some farming. We saw Sefi taking out the first 2 guards with magic because they know that there was two pots with magic there, so they got the magic bar refilled straight away.
Absolutely, yes. That's the nice thing about knowing the location of those 2 pots. If you get a magic-based weapon, whether it's the Fire Rod, Cane of Samaria, or Cane of Burna, it does give you a little bit of extra ammo to bring to bear. Now I noticed actually Sefi is going to take one of these 2 pots and try to kill one of these green guards, trying to get a little bit of farm going early. I do like seeing that. Oh, speaking of the other bomb start, I guess it's a half and half start. Looks like our first chest in the blue guard room, 10 bombs.
Yeah, it looks like you got both of your wishes here, both weapons starting off here. So well, no more farming needed for the rest of Escape then.
Oh, exactly right. At this point, our runners need to focus on just using the cane simply to take out only the necessary enemies. We'll probably see them use a 2-pot setup to kill the ball and chain guard at the bottom, but who knows? We'll see what they elect to go with.
And there's an 8 bomb drop.
Plenty
of course,
of
it happens in the seed when you get 10 bombs in the chest.
Yeah, of course.
But having those bombs is also a very nice reserve to have in case your magic would run out. So you could always have the bombs as backup.
Absolutely. Although that key rat can be a bit of a pain to kill with bombs, it requires a little bit of setup to do so. But you're absolutely right. It's always nice to have a plan B ready to go. And we see Bubu going with the 2-pot method. I expect Sefi will follow in his tracks as well. Nice thing about it, 2 pots is all you need to kill the guard. You do not have to burn your limited magic resources, so it's a pretty fast and pretty efficient method to take out that ball and chain guard.
Yeah, we haven't got the key for Escape quite yet, so it's gonna be in the dark sewer chest. And we still haven't found the map yet, so might be hiding in that back of Escape, or if the runners are lucky, it could be in the Sanctuary chest, and they won't even have to open that chest.
Yeah, something important to note as you're going through the opening Escape sequence, it's always a good idea to keep a tally of your items, because if you don't find the map, then by process of elimination, you know that it's going to be in the Sanctuary chest, which means you don't have to turn around and open that chest. It can save you a handful of seconds, and that can add up over the course of a run. So it's always nice to take those little time saves when you can.
Yeah, when the objective is to do everything as fast as possible, every single time save can be very important.
Oh yes, it can add up. I mean, you factor those in over the course of an hour and a half, 2-hour race. I mean, if it gets down to the wire, those minor saves will end up winning you or losing you a match, whether you get them or don't get them. Now, as we're running into the back of Escape, what's probably going through our runners' minds, we see Bubu going to grab the extra magic pot, probably wanting to have a little bit of extra safety just to make sure he gets that key rat. But as far as enemies we need to kill, the key rat is the only one left that we have to take out. So I expect Sefi will have plenty of magic to do the purpose, just so long as he makes sure that he is right on top of that rat when he activates that cane.
Yeah, and the single hit is everything you need to take out that rat. So both runners looks to have more than enough magic to pull it off.
All right, and our runners neck and neck running into the key rat room. Looks like Sefi locks on target, grabs that key rat. Bubu right as well. I mean, these guys are still just neck and neck. I mean, both doing very good escape sequences.
Yeah, they've synchronized up very nicely here. And yeah, both are looking to have a very good time coming out of escape.
Look at that other 8-bomb drop. It looks like 8 bombs will be in the pool for our runners. You know, that's not bad information to have at all. And Sefi getting the full decanter drop. So wow, lots of good resources for our runners to have.
It's pretty nice way of starting off a sea. And we did see that map, so there's one more item here in the sanctuary chest.
Looks like Sefi's going to finish escape at about the 607 mark. Still is going to have to want to open that chest because there is an item left in it. Only 20 bucks, but you know, early in a seed, it's usually a good idea to go ahead and get what money you can, because you're going to have Zora. You need 500 for that. You want to make sure you got rupees for pod. You've got chess game. You have a lot of stuff that you want to be able to afford. So early on, those rupees pretty valuable. Not so much later in the game, but very good to have at the opening.
Yeah, and very soon they're gonna pass Kakariko, and you have the bottle vendor there. You want to make sure you have 100 rupees ready to go at that time. And we see even more bombs from
more bombs. Oh my goodness, definitely a bomb-rich scene. Now we see a slight route divergence coming up here. Bubu is not going to check the Lumberjack Cave, opting to go straight to the woods. Sefi will check it. I didn't quite see what was up there, though.
There was 100 rupees.
Okay, so not terribly important. Certainly not worth the trip required to get to that location. I know Bubu found 300 in the mushroom spot, and finding a full heart container here is going to be doing well getting the resources he needs to complete his early game checks. So definitely a nice find to have, and that 300 rupees definitely worth the pickup at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna be rich if it continues like this.
Alright, so Bubu's going to be our first to come down here to Kakariko Village. Got plenty of bombs to do all of his checks. Another nice thing for finding so many bombs in Escape, you won't have to worry about buying bombs at the initial part of this seed. So you'll actually be able to make all the necessary checks. Bottom of the well, Blind's Hut, racing game. You'll have plenty to do whatever you need to do, and still enough to function as a weapon.
Yeah, if you don't have any bombs coming into Escape, I mean Kakariko, you could always take the risk of just going straight into Blind's Hut, hoping to get some bombs, but it's always nice to have that guaranteed. Wow, both Power Glove and Hookshot in Blind's Hut.
Oh yes, finding a lot of good early items. Something I'm noticing here, now we've seen our runners get it a couple of times. I have noticed as they come out of a stairwell, if you hold left or right as you're coming out of the stairs in a room like that, you actually will save about 15 frames doing that. So you just save about a quarter of a second. But remember, we were talking about minor time saves over the course of a run. You know, that's going to add up. I mean, you know, you're talking about possibly saving 20 seconds or even more as you go through a race. So definitely wanting to do those little optimizations when you can.
Oh yeah, for sure. So normally when you play in the early game, you don't really want to see the lamp, because that could often be an indicator that agony might be required. But with this this glove and the hookshot, I think our runners would be delighted to see the lamp at this point.
No, absolutely. Because it's just a lot of uncertainty opening up, and you kind of like to know exactly what path you're going to have to take. Of course, nobody wants to do Aga if they don't have to, because you got to figure that's going to be a couple of minutes sunk right there just trying to go get that check done.
Yeah,
Just to open your way forward.
But with that lamp, they would be able to go up to Death Mountain instead. With the hook
You're
shot,
absolutely right.
Check a lot of locations.
Yeah, if they get lamp, logically speaking, they would open up, let's see, it'd be 10 locations that they would be able to do. Now, of course, that's by logic. If our runners know how to do dark rooms, Death Mountain's already open. It's just a matter if you can navigate those dark rooms, and that's a pretty handy skill to have if you can sit down and dedicate time to actually learning how to navigate those dark rooms.
So we had a map check there, and it looked like Tower of Hera is one of our 5-6 crystals, and we had a blue and red pendant at Eastern and Desert Palace. So 2 pendants in the light world.
Now, going forward, assuming that this is a pedestal seed, it is not a bad thing to see pendants in those early dungeons, because the early dungeons tend to be very fast to complete. So not necessarily a bad thing seeing that setup right there. Of course, we don't know where our green pendant is. We can talk to Sahasrara, but, we also can check when we hit the dark room too, or the dark world too.
Yeah, with just being able to do the map checks, I wouldn't be surprised for our runners to wait until they are in the dark world. And in the dam, we have the ice rod. It's it's a pretty nice pickup, because if you need to go into Turtle Rock later on, if that turns out to be a crystal, it's very nice to have the ice rod out of the picture early on, because that item could be almost anywhere.
You are absolutely right. The ice rod logically can be anywhere in the game except on Trinex. So yeah, you definitely like seeing that early. You don't want to have to be hunting down that item as your go mode item later on. So yes, it's still a very good find. Of course, if Turtle Rock ends up being a pendant, it's not necessarily required for go mode, but still, it's nice to have that off your plate and not have to be worried about that later on.
Yeah, and with 2 pendants in the light world, Turtle Rock being a crystal seems pretty likely. And well, there's the fire rod as well.
All right, well, there you go, folks. Now we can do Trinex. If we can get inside Turtle Rock. Of course, we still need a medallion and a cane to be able to do that. Other interesting thing to note, Bubu found the flippers in there. That opens up the logical possibility of your water checks. So I expect we'll see him go to Ice Rod Cave here, and then he won't have to set up a fake flipper. He'll be able to check Hobo. He'll be able to check Zora's Domain. All of that suddenly comes into play logically.
Yeah, and both runners are very close of having those 500 rupees required for Zora as well. And having the gloves, there's actually a cave you can lift up that big rock, and there's 20 rupees that you can farm in there. So if they want to be super sure of having those 500s, they could just go in there 2 times.
Absolutely. We're going to have to be very careful here. Still only sporting green mail. Those crabs do 2 hearts of damage apiece. A very dangerous light world enemy. So does a very good job of navigating through that. Survives. Opting to save and quit here, which is a very interesting idea. Maybe he doesn't want to risk going back through those crabs. And remember, you can access Lake Hylia from Link's house. You'll go 1 screen over to the right, and you'll go down. It looks like that's where Bubu's heading right now. Also means he'll be able to... Oh, never mind. Maybe he's not.
Yeah, it looks like it might be an Eastern play here instead.
That's very interesting because he doesn't have the lamp. Only the first 4 spots in Eastern are going to be open logically to him. Of course, it is nice to be able to see what's in Sahasrara's hut as well. Might also get some knowledge on that final green pendant.
So let's see if Sefi decides to do the same. No, going in to farm those last 15 rupees needed for Zora.
Absolutely. It's a great idea to make sure you've got everything that you need to get in there and pay off the kingfish.
Yeah, there's a pretty good possibility of finding a big 20 rupee before going to Zora in one of those free locations, but it doesn't hurt to be certain.
Not at all bad thing. It's not a bad thing by any stretch. Interestingly, also, Bubu found a bottle of red potion in the back of Sahashwa's head. Oh, I see a hammer. I see a hammer.
That means we're gonna need the mitts if Aghanim is not gonna be required.
And also, interestingly, it doesn't guarantee that this will be an Agaseed like you're talking about, but we know that one of the hammer is indeed locked behind the Dark World. So the only way that our players are going to be able to get to the Dark World now, they have to find that second lift upgrade and, of course, the Moon Pearl. Did you finding a bow
in the first chest in Eastern? That's amazing.
What? You know, it's always very interesting when you find items in their vanilla location. That tends to troll a lot of players, so you know he's very happy to find that. Eastern paying off big dividends for Bubu.
With the Fire Rod, the second dark room in this dungeon is not going to be as intimidating as it could be sometimes. So they might elect to full clear the dungeon straight away.
Looks like Sefi is going to go ahead and make that play on Zora's Domain. We'll see what he finds there, but he will definitely want to be making his way to Eastern at some point because that bow is going to be very nice to have. It's going to have that. And a book in Zora's Domain. That gives us a piece of the Desert Palace puzzle.
Yeah, it actually lets us full clear Desert Palace. So we already have a fire source and the gloves.
Or we can clear the back of it, provided it's not. Yep, like you said, provided it's not locked behind boots. Bubu finding the other glove upgrade in Eastern. Interestingly enough, electing to go ahead and leave the dungeon, but boy, Eastern has a lot of value. Bow, second lift upgrade. Yeah, Sefi's going to definitely want to go there as soon as he can. Still a bit interested into why Bubu quit out of that dungeon. Maybe thinking, I can always come back to it. I found 2 valuable items. There's only 3 to be found in EP, and maybe thinking I got everything I need.
Yeah, and it looks like Bubu is going up Death Mountain, going for a little sequence break here, and doing sequence breaks could sometimes be good, sometimes be bad, but there's a lot of items up here, and if the Moon Pearl happens to be up in Death Mountain, then they have access to the Dark World of Death Mountain as well with those mitts.
It looks like chat saying that there was indeed a 3rd item that Bubu got in Eastern. So if he did indeed find all 3 items, then that does make it a little bit smarter to come out of there. And if he ends up needing to go back for the pendant, he can just go straight to the back of it. So if he did indeed find all 3, then not so bad of a play coming out at that point. For some reason, I was thinking he'd only found 2.
So finding the mitts in Eastern, that definitely lowers the possibilities of Aghanim being required, especially since we haven't found any of the required items to actually do Aghanim's Tower quite yet.
Yep, we're still missing a lamp, and that's a great big glaring hole in your logic for Aghanim, because if you don't find the lamp, then logically Aga's not in play at that point.
Yeah, and Bubu not checking the flippers locations yet, doesn't know that the book is in the waterfall cave, but desert area is looking quite likely to have possibly the Moon Pearl right now.
Oh yes, Bubu thankfully getting the old man before taking the death. That's not going to be so costly because now Bubu has that save and quit point unlocked. He can go straight to the mountain cave. So that not a costly death at all. It's almost as fast as a save and quit. Now, you were talking about sequence breaks earlier. They are indeed a bit of a double-edged sword. If you can keep the logic in mind, they can actually be very good because it might minimize the number of backtracks you'll have to do. But it's just a matter of being able to keep that logic in mind as you're doing that. And in this particular case, he may, if he finds the Moon Pearl up here, then he's going to be good to go. He's going to have his Dark World access. And Sefi finding that piece of heart. So yes, Bubu indeed found all 3 items in Eastern Palace. So that is actually a fairly smart play to do, because we don't know for sure if it is a pedestal seed or not.
Yeah, so what Bubu needs to keep in mind here is that everything they find up Death Mountain is locked by the lamp or the flute. So anything they find up here can't lead to one of those 2 items.
Right, but conversely, through logic, if they find the Moon Pearl up here, they'll know that lamp or flute will be in their immediate future. So it's good knowledge to have working backwards. Bubu setting up for the bomb jump here, a pretty easy setup. Even though it doesn't have a sword, extending the arm using his sword button, walking back to that corner, getting that pushback, laying the bomb down there, guarantees he's going to be able to clear that bomb jump. Sefi, meanwhile, going to be making the Desert Palace play, or at the very least, the Aghanim play.
Yeah, I think if you walk all the way here, you're probably going into desert as well. It's a pretty fast check to do.
Oh, and if it's not boots locked, this will give 2 items that we can check, plus the whatever's on the ledge, which I don't remember us checking that. Do you remember if we found that yet?
The desert ledge?
Yes.
No, we have. I don't believe we've seen that quite yet.
Bubu finding a piece of heart in the bottom of Spiral Cave. That exhausts all of his Light World Death Mountain checks. Now, he doesn't have the Moon Pearl yet, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and check Super Bunny location while he's here.
And do you know why he doesn't have the Moon Pearl?
Oh, it was on Desert Ledge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Oh, that bunny sprite for Bubu is quite amazing.
I do love that sprite. But by unlocking the Super Bunny state, like I said, he will be able to go ahead and check these 2 locations here. But yeah, he's going to want to make tracks for Desert if he wants to get that Moon Pearl.
Yeah, he's going into a double sequence break here.
And again, just goes to show you that, I mean, sequence breaks can be very powerful to have, but they can also work against you. I mean, just comes down to it. It's, random item locations. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, this also means that when Sefi decides to go up the mountain, they will already have the Moon Pearl, so you will be able to check that hookshot cave as well, which you cannot do as a bunny.
Yep, Sefi's going to have a lot more open to him.
So did Bubu ever check the spectacle rock? Because I can't really remember if they did.
I cannot remember if he checked the inside or not. Only a compass on the torch for Sefi, though, so Desert is not boots locked by any means.
Yeah, and both our runners have now seen the hammer on the Lake Hylia Island, so they will both be looking for that mirror, because that's going to unlock the hammer.
Yep, you are absolutely right, because they have their Dark World access, but because it's on Lake Hylia, logically you need the mirror to access the hammer location. And chat telling us that the inside of Spectacle Rock was not checked, so we do have a question mark there. Now, I will be interested to see. It looks like Sefi's going to save and quit off of here. If you save and quit out of Eastern, saving and quitting out of here, definitely a solid play. Because if you're not committing to a pedestal seat just yet, you definitely don't want to be doing half of one play and half of another play.
Yeah, and especially when just got that Moon Pro, there's so much open right now.
Well, and the nice thing again about both of those is that they're pretty easy to get back to. If you end up needing to, if it ends up being a pedestal seat and you need to backtrack, then those two palaces are pretty easy to get to.
So we're getting a look at Sick Kid here before going into the Dark World. So that's a good thing to remember, because as many checks as you can do as smart as possible, like you don't want to have to go all the way back here just because you forgot to check that before going into the Dark World.
Absolutely. The main thing is just remembering if you've checked or not. Nice thing, at least about Sick Kid, it's in a bit of a hub location, so you have a couple of opportunities to come back and revisit it. But again, it's one of those that it's fairly easy to forget. You might start thinking, oh, I've been here before. Look at that. Turtle Rock is our final pendant. Who'd have thought, finding both rods as early as we did?
Of course it is. It's amazing.
Gotcha. Do you remember what our last 5-6 crystal was? I didn't quite catch it.
It was Mr. Meyer.
Ah, okay. So now Sefi doing his Village of Outcast checks, very good idea to get those before diving into Thieves Town. Because you might find something, you might find a sword, you might find a Cane of Samaria, you might find something that'll function as a fairly decent weapon, because as of right now, the only thing Sefi's got that can damage blind is the Cane of Burna.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to be interesting to see if they decide to go into Thieves Town or not, because there is a possibility that one of the items will be locked behind the big key, the big chest, and they already know where the hammer is, so they know that the big chest will not be accessible.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Sefi might be opting to do digging game and probably double back and do the frog turn in as well. Check, see what's on the smiths. Again, I think really what Sefi needs to find, a sword would be amazing, because a sword would not only give him something to use against blind. Oh no, he's a little short on the digging game money. Oh, that's unfortunate. But if he finds a sword, he will have Skullwoods and Thieves Town easily completable. I mean, Thieves Town's completable right now, but it's not an attractive play, I would think.
Yeah, the Cane of Burna, a full magic bar is enough to beat blind, but you want to make sure not to run out of the magic. You have to time your uses of the cane.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but for the Cane of Burna, it requires 16 magic to activate, and I think it ticks off at 1 point of magic per frame after that, or 1 point per. It might be 1 point per second, but it's a heavy upfront cost, but over time a much lower cost. Compared with like the cape, which I think is 4 magic per second or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the exact numbers, but it sounds about right.
Looks like Sefi going to go ahead and round out his Southern Dark World tour. Going to terminate at the Hype Cave here. What kind of Hype Cave are we going to see today?
Pretty hype.
Well, more bombs. And money. A sword. And more money. I'd rate that 6 out of 10.
Yeah, it's decent at the very least, considering it's the first sword they get.
Now, with him finding that sword there, again, Skullwoods, Thieves Town, both coming heavily into play here because he can complete both of them.
Yeah, and I think that looks pretty attractive right now. So with the flippers, even though they don't have the hammer, they can still get over to the east side of the Dark World. They can swim over and get to Pod and the Pyramid that way. So it's quite likely, or at the very least possible, that the mirror could be on that side as well. Then again, you don't really want to go into Pod either. Like, even if you have the bow, you don't want to go in there without the hammer, because you need the hammer to full clear it. But you can't stay away from dungeons too far, too long anyways. Like, sometimes you have to commit.
Well, it would be a very big gamble going into check Pod, but if the mirror is indeed in there, quite a payoff knowing that it's a double dip versus having to keep putting it off and putting it off. But one of those things I could definitely understand not wanting to go into Pod, like you said, without a hammer, because you can't full clear it.
Yeah.
There are other checks.
I would say Thieves Town is for sure a more safe play to do, because you could at the very least clear out the dungeon, and it's not even certain that it's gonna be an item that you miss.
Interesting thing to note here, Bubu is actually going to go ahead and kill Lanmolas.
Yeah, and
Nice.
if Lanmolas has something required, it could be quite a while before Sefi goes back to desert. But just a single rupee.
Oh no. Well, you know what? If it's a ped, at least Bubu will have a little bit of a leg up in that regard. But oof, I'm sure he was hoping to find something better than that.
Yeah, that's about one of the most useless item that you can find.
Now, as Sefi's heading towards the back of Skull Woods, you have to remind me, it was a red potion that they had, correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Something to note, now they do have, he has 10 hearts, I believe, so a fairly good health pool for dealing with Mothula, but gonna have to be kind of careful with his fire rod usage. That's his only source of fire, so he will have to exhaust half of his magic getting through the Gibdo room. But hopefully he's practiced his low percent Mothula, because he only has a fighter sword and he only has a fire rod for damage.
Yeah, I believe it takes 8 hits with the fire rod and 16 hits with the fighter sword to take down Mothula. And if you don't have too many fire rod shots, then you're gonna have to do most of the damage with that fighter sword. So it's definitely not the easiest Mothula fights. Like, most of the times you have the hammer at the very least going to Mothula, but they can't even use that this time.
No, not this time. Of course, the hammer would be tempered sword damage, which would be very nice to have for Mothula, even with the weird hitbox. But yeah, Sefi is walking into a bit of an uphill battle here, but with that red potion at least, that's going to give him, if provided on how he uses it, it'll give him double the amount of time that he would normally have. Sefi making very good use of that hookshot glitch on a heart. If you hookshot a heart, you actually can get 2 hearts healed. So making very smart use of that hookshot.
Yeah, and having checked all the chests in the front of Skullwoods before going to Mothula, already had that spare key, so they didn't have to kill that Gibdo in that room to go to Mothula.
Yeah, because again, you want to conserve what you have for this guy. Only 4 hearts, or 4 shots rather, to work with, so gonna have to be very judicious in fighting. Looks like Sefi opting to take it slow. That's not a bad idea because, boy, this fight can get hectic in a hurry. I mean, it can get nasty.
Yeah, the spikes, moving floors, Mothula who never behaves. Ooh, just gotta have to be careful here. Half a heart.
Oh, the bog, you got a potion, dude. Oh, good. He remembers. He remembers. It's one of those, you know you're in a race, you know that you need to move quickly, but on the Mothula fight, it's almost if you go too quickly, you sacrifice execution for speed, and given the toolkit he's got with, that can be a very dangerous position. But does a very good job finishing off Mothula, gets the big key for his troubles. And that'll be one Crystal Dungeon done for Sefi.
Yeah, well played indeed. And ooh, Bubu finding the flute in Thieves Town. That makes Death Mountain in logic again. And there's the mirror as well. Holy
And the
moly.
mirror! Oh!
That gives us access
very...
to the hammer as well. That's amazing.
Nice thing is, hopefully Sefi's going to be heading there shortly, because I would think that logically Thieves Town is going to be next on his to-do list.
I would think so as well. And unless Bubu finds a sword here in Thieves Town, we will be seeing a Keenan Berna fight against Blind.
Oh, with no mirror, Sefi having to take the long walk out, using those Gibdos to get a little bit of a push along. Taking the Death War period a little bit faster than walking out. Bubu making very excellent use of the hook shot, by the way, in the Hellway. I believe I remember from his bio, the hook shot is his favorite item. So I expect we'll see some very good hookshot usage out of Bubu.
Yeah, hookshot is a very interesting item. You can use it in so many different ways. You can use it for mobility. You can use it defensively to stun enemies or make yourself invulnerable. And sometimes you can even use it offensively as well. Some enemies gets one-shotted by the hookshot.
Well, like where he's at right now, those little grasshopper enemies, those die in one hit from the hookshot, as Bubu is demonstrating for us. So yeah, that hookshot, very versatile item to have, very nice item to have. Not only good for speed tech, but for defense.
Oh,
Sefi finding a master sword.
Yeah, and it was in the big chest, and the big key came from Mothula.
Yeah, that's an interesting little item placement. Looks like Sefi gonna check Bumper Cave. Not a bad idea coming out of Skull Woods. We will at least know what you're working with. Just finds a full heart container up there, so probably not gonna double back for it, but still good information to have.
Yeah, it's been a pretty healthy seed so far. We see Bubu having already 12 hearts.
And Sefi not too far behind at 10, so yeah, this is a fairly healthy seed so far. Interesting to note, Bubu still does not have a sword.
Yeah, that's gonna make this blind fight pretty interesting. Don't have any magic in the pod either, so it's gonna have to be a little bit conservative with the magic uses here on this fight.
The good news looks like in Thieves Town so far, they have not found a small key. So that means that the small key has to be locked in that big chest, because the key cannot be on blind.
Indeed, so that's a very good. Oh, yeah. Bubu realizing straight away that did not go as planned. So just mirroring out, and it's gonna grab that hammer sooner rather than later, I think. It's also gonna have the mirror if they decide to do the Smith sequence as well, so they could grab that the purple chest when going to Hype Cave instead.
Yep, they'll be able to route a few more checks in together. Although, again, very unfortunate that Bubu was not able to complete the blind fight. But I mean, again, it's a very, you know, I don't even know if you can actually complete the fight with just Cane of Berna without half magic. I've never tried it before. So if anybody has any insight on that, we'll be all ears for that. Sefi down to a heart and a half. Going to have to be very careful against these Zizaks. Using that hook shot, very good defensively. Ops to mirror out.
And did you see what Sefi missed in the digging game earlier?
I missed that. What was in there?
It was a lamp.
Oh. The lamp's just a suggestion.
Yeah, for some people.
It's a good suggestion, but it's just a suggestion.
So interesting that Bubu is going to check these mirror locations on the way to Hype Cave, but did not bring the purple chest with them. Didn't save the smith as well.
Now, Sefi, again, going to have to be very careful. Only a heart and a half. Goes ahead and picks up that purple chest. Going to opt to have a portal down here because he's going to unlock his flute, which means he can flute to 7 for the quick turn in for the chest, flute right back to 3, and his portal's right there. Hasn't missed a beat doing that. So, very conservative and good movement tech out of Sefi.
Mm-hmm. It's probably gonna want to take the walk down anyways, though, because you want to get to that Lake Hiley Island as soon as possible to get the hammer.
I would think so as well. Okay, so Sefi going back to the Dark World.
Yeah, so when walking down here, you're gonna have to take this walk one way or another in order to get the hammer. So might as well do it together with the purple chest. So we saw a bombos tablet check from Bubu. Was not able to retrieve the item. It was just a little bit of money anyways, but with the book could at the very least check the tablet so they don't have to come back there.
Well, and one of the key parts of being a good rando player is making efficient use of knowledge. You know, having that intelligence to know, okay, I know an item's here, I know an item is not here. Oftentimes that can decide a race, and we've seen it a few times throughout this tournament. Oh no! Sefi taking a very unfortunate death there. That's very unfortunate to see.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna have to make their way back, but the flute could at the very least go back to. Decides to go to Death Mountain instead.
I'm gonna try the dark room old man check.
Yeah, it's as we know, it's in logic. Sefi doesn't really know it quite yet, but there's a lot of checks you can do up here.
Oh yes, and the Death Mountain dark room is actually a fairly easy dark room to learn. You sit down a few minutes and practice it. It's just very basic movement directions and knowing when to change course. It's actually one of the, I would say after the Eastern Palace dark rooms, one of the easier rooms to learn.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you learn it though, because once you pick up the old man, you're kind of committed to returning him to his home. Didn't really got the old man there. Because what happens if you can't get out and you die or you try to save and quit with the old man, you're gonna start at that dark cave again. So once you pick him up, you have to make sure that you can get back as well.
Oh yes, need to make sure you can make it out of there.
So Bubu not having the hammer. Sefi went up to the mountain without the hammer, but that's not really gonna hurt him too much. The only thing that will lock them out from doing is Spy Cave or going into Turtle Rock, but they can't really go into Turtle Rock anyways.
Right. Looks like Sefi not getting the old man, so gonna bail out of there, it looks like, and fluting back to 3.
Yeah, and what's unfortunate is that they were the digging game, but they didn't have any money. So they would have had that lamp if they just had a little bit more money last time they went to digging game. Okay, so now we saw that Spectacle Rock was just a blue rupee, so not too much excitement there.
Yeah, more so just knowing the information, knowing that being able to not have to worry about, oh Lord, did I check Spectacle Rock? Is it in logic? What could I be missing there? Nice to have that crossed off your list.
Yeah. Can full clear Hera since they have a fire source, and having the hammer, Moldorm won't be too much of a problem. Hopefully. Only needs 3 hits with the hammer instead of 6 hits, I think, with the fighter sword.
It's either 6 or 7 with the fighter sword. Can't quite remember, but yes, it's only 3 hammer hits. If you attack from either from the north heading down or from the sides, a little bit easier to hit. The hammer's hitbox is really difficult to line up, though, if you're attacking from the south. Like if you're down facing up, that hitbox can be very difficult to aim. And chat informing us that yes, it is indeed 6 hits with the fighter sword.
So Sefi claiming their hammer as well. With this hammer, it opens up a lot of things in the world. We have a lot of dungeons that we can clear at the moment. Thieves Town for both our runners, since Bubu unfortunately didn't make it the first time. We have Pod, we have Tower of Hera, Swamp Palace, Skullwoods for Bubu, and even Ice Palace, and not really Mr. Meyer yet, but most of the crystals are open right now.
Indeed, and finding out that Meyer is locked by the Ether medallion, so Ether will be required for go mode.
Yeah, we need Ether and the Cane of Samaria. That's it really.
Indeed. Sefi finding the only valuable thing finding in Meyer Shed, another bottle, so another opportunity for some safety. Now I'm going to come look over here and check Checkerboard Cave. Might as well round out the Meyer checks while he's here.
Ooh, Bubu, very close to the edge there. Just need one more hit, and there it is. Smaller miss down.
Quite a nice little Moldorm fight out of Bubu. That's that hammer strat. It takes a little bit of practice to be able to get comfortable with it. So very, very good fight out of Bubu.
Yeah, and these bottles that our runners are collecting, I think they give a lot more value when you actually have the flute, because you can just flute over very quickly to refill them, and you don't really have to spend too much of a time waste in order to get some extra safeties.
Indeed. Looks like Sefi gonna go back and try to get the old man again. Oh, I know something. I know something.
I didn't really catch that tablet.
Well, it's. I'll give you a hint. It involves making blocks.
Is it a Lego set?
It's a nice toy. So I guess they have that in common.
Yeah. So Bubu is gonna want to find that Master Sword quickly then.
Oh, and nice thing about Sefi making these checks now, he will find that cane.
Yeah. That's gonna be a really good pickup.
Well, and as far as what we need for Misery Meyer, if you count the lamp as a suggestion, the only other thing you need besides hookshot or boots to cross the initial gap to complete Mire is the cane. Now, of course, we still need Ether to open the door. So once we get the cane, Sefi will just need one more item, and Mire will be complete.
Yeah. Mire is one of the more tricky dark rooms. But like it's really like all other dark rooms. If you practice it enough, it's not really too intimidating.
It's just a matter of sitting down and putting the practice in on it. I know that they're very intimidating to a lot of newer players, but yes, once you sit down and practice with them, it's a very nice skill to have in your repertoire.
Yeah, most of the dark rooms looks a lot harder than they actually are.
Now, Sefi's going to be going into Tower Hera, Bubu striking out in a new territory with Hookshot Cave. So far, not much of value, but that blue tunic, that's a pretty nice find to have. It's going to essentially double his health pool.
Yeah, that's a very good safety to have. And it looks like Bubu is aiming for Spy Cave here.
Indeed, I'm a little bit interested. Bubu did not go check to see what Turtle Rock was. Of course, we know Turtle Rock is a green pendant, but still, that's usually pretty good information to have. Oh, and Sefi taking a fall there. Not a terribly expensive fall, but still, that's not necessarily a good thing to happen in this first Beetle room.
Yeah. And speaking of Turtle Rock, yeah, if they went over to check Turtle Rock and it turned out to be Ether, then they would have the knowledge that, okay, I'll never have to set foot into Turtle Rock, because Ether is the only thing both runners are kind of missing right now.
Yep, looking over the item pool, let's see. As far as what they need for go mode, of course, logically, they still both need the lamp. And oh no, Sefi taking another fall here. That's a 2-floor fall. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, that bomb jump can make this dungeon a little bit shorter, but falling down 2 floors, that's a little bit of a costly time sink, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's a shame to see. As far as what they need for go mode, we need Ether. We need lamp, and I think that's it.
Yeah, the only thing we would possibly need is also the boots. And for Bubu, Bubu will need to find one more sword as well.
Yep, but we know that Bubu will get one when he goes to Skull Woods, so there will be a sword in his future. And Sefi getting that bomb jump the second time, I know that's got to feel good getting that. You bring up an interesting point of not checking Turtle Rock. At this point, with their current item distribution, if Turtle Rock is indeed locked by Ether, then they can rule out of this being a pedestal seed. Because if that's all they need for go mode, then they won't have to do the pedestal at all. It'll be just a completely dead ped seed.
Yeah, both pedestal and Turtle Rock would be ruled out in one single go. But even if it isn't Ether, it's kind of good to know anyways. Like, if they find Bombos or Quake and they just find one of them, it's nice to know if that's the one required for Turtle Rock or not.
Absolutely.
You don't really want to go all the way up Death Mountain just to check what medallion you need, and you don't have the right one.
And Mekio77 in chat asking if we forgot Bubu has lamp. No, we remember. He found it at the dig game. But for the purposes of calculating if this is a ped seed, since we know where the lamp is, if Turtle Rock is indeed locked by Ether, we can rule out a pedestal seed at this point.
Yeah, and Bubu finding Quake. So it's going to be interesting to see if Sefi decides to check Turtle Rock.
Indeed.
So the lamp was on the digging game, and Sefi missed it the first time going there, and it's gonna be interesting to see if they decide to go back there. Like, it's quite possible that once you've done that whole sequence with the smith and the purple chest, that you might have just ruled out digging game mentally.
Indeed. But if Sefi is comfortable with his darkroom execution, then thankfully, if he orphans that location, it won't come back to bite him.
Yeah, the lamp is required by logic, but you could sequence break around it.
Now, of course, Bubu in Pod right now has everything that he needs to fully complete this dungeon, and this will be some fresh territory for us as far as looking for items. Again, the big thing we're looking for right now, we'd love to know where that ether medallion is.
Yeah, Bubu has everything needed to clear every single crystal except for Mr. Myers, so wouldn't be surprised to see them just going from crystal to crystal, hoping to see the ether medallion in one of those dungeons.
I agree. That would be a very intelligent play to make.
Because in the worst case scenario, you still get the crystals.
Now, what will be an interesting twist for this seed, if Turtle Rock is locked by Quake, then we could have an interesting little setup to see potentially an ether medallion in Turtle Rock, which would put Green Pendant having quite a bit of value.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first pendant to see to have value in that case. So here we go. We're gonna see Turtle Rock here, and it is ether. So
It is ether.
Ped is dead, and so is Turtle Rock.
Sorry, folks, no pedestal seed today. Also means that TR will have absolutely no value this seed, at least in terms of go mode. Now, it still could have sword upgrades, it still could have some nice stuff in it, but it is not required.
It wouldn't surprise me if the other two swords and silvers are in Turtle Rock.
That would be a truly little occurrence, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it seems like that's the way version 29 likes to roll at this point.
Indeed. Sefi making good use of that mirror to dodge those fireballs, because remember, the Lionels take no damage from the Master Sword. They're in the same armor class that Ganon is. So sword swipes from the Master Sword will not harm them. So I do like the use of the mirror there, and the fact that there's still that Dark World portal for getting access to Spike Cave.
Yeah, you don't need to take more damage than necessary, especially not when you want to go into Spike Cave.
Absolutely. Now, chat bringing up some interesting points. We have not factored boots into our calculations. There is a 1 in 22 chance that boots are required for Ganon's Tower. And boots could be on either, they either could be in Turtle Rock, or they could be on the pedestal. So, Ped not dead, maybe just on life support at this point.
Yeah, I'm just doing what I would do if I was a runner right now. I'm just hoping that I'm just I just what's I'm not finding the word. Imagining that the boosts aren't even a thing.
Well, again, 1 in 22. I mean, that's less than 5% odds. That's about 4.5%. So
Yeah.
that's a gamble I'm comfortable making. Speaking personally.
If you find the Ether medallion right now, most of the times it would be the right call just to go mode everything. You could check a couple of chests if they're on your way, but you don't go out of your way to grab extra chests.
Absolutely not. Thinking of some chests that would be easy to scoop up along the way. The 4 chests in the back of Swamp Palace, not too far out of your way to go for those. Could think of a few others, I'm sure, but yeah, if you don't have to go more than 5 seconds out of your way or 10 seconds out of your way, it's a chest that's probably worthwhile getting, if nothing else, for a sword upgrade or silvers.
Yeah, freezer room in Ice Palace, for example.
Yes.
Mr. Meyer, you're likely to have to check most of the chests anyways. So Sefi making the play into pod as well. We didn't really find anything of value in here though.
It was a bit of a strikeout, unfortunately. Although remember, it's a 5 chest or a 5 item location, so statistically speaking, not a bad place to look for Ether.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad play. And Bubu is going into Swamp Palace before clearing up some of the other crystals.
Well, Swamp is another very high density location. Actually, 1 over Pod. Pod has 5. Swamp has 6.
Yeah, items. Swamp has the most items of any dungeons, and yeah, it's a very interesting play because most people like to skip Swamp Palace until the very last crystal, just because it's so fast doing go mode. But going in early, that means if the Ether is in Swamp, you might have that medallion quite some time before your opponent does.
Indeed. The only downfall to Swamp, and you alluded to it somewhat, was having to check left side Swamp does eat a bit into your time, but still, it's a matter of you have 1 item you need, and you don't want to neglect any locations. So it's statistically a very high probability.
Mm-hmm. And so let's say Bubu finds the Ether here, and then when they go to Skullwoods, do you think they check the big chest? Like
I certainly would.
I guess you kind of have to, because you're not in go mode until you have the Master Sword, because you can only get that cane by having Master Sword.
I expect Bubu, when he goes to Skull Woods, will come out and check the pedestal, because he'll have mirror, he'll have book, he'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
Sefi making very good use of that cane, also leading the beetles around so that the block does not get eaten. Remember, those blocks can only take 5 hits. They can deal damage 5 times before the block evaporates. So again, I do like the play here of, like I said, being able to lead those beetles around and preserve that block so that he can move that color switch.
Yeah, and also making sure they're not in the line of sight of the block's firing point as well. So Sefi has to do these rooms in the dark. As far as Sefi is concerned, that's not a problem.
I will be interested to see what Sefi does when he gets to the back of Pod. And the only reason I say that, You can do that in the dark, but that turtle room that's in the basement of Pod, that's a lot easier to do with the fire rod because you can get some illumination and line up the hits on those turtles. But he has no magic currently, so he is not going to be able to elect to use that fire rod.
Yeah, he might try to do it without the fire rod first, and yes, we see double blue potions. Might use them in case it doesn't work out.
Oh yes, that's a very good point that you have there. He does have the ability to potion up if he needs to, and that will again re-unlock the use of his fire rod, which again it does make that room quite a bit easier.
Yeah, and in the worst case scenarios, like most likely Sefi wants to keep those potions for maybe the dark room in Mire, but has enough money that they can just restock if needed.
Oh yes. So Sefi getting to the big chest, not really finding anything of value. Probably going to go ahead and go kill Helmasaur. Bubu just now getting to the left side to make these checks. So I'll be interested to see what we find here. Got a big key in the first one. And in the second chest, just a piece of heart.
Yeah, so only hope for Bubu for left side being anything of value is something in that big chest.
Well, that's as good a place for the Ether Medallion as any.
Oh, and Sefi didn't have enough magic for the Cane of Samaria block either, as well, so use that potion, and it's gonna have enough magic now for the fire rod shots as well when going downstairs.
Oh yes, and of course has tons of arrows, and is going down here with full hearts as well, so he'll be able to use a sword beam to flip that color switch in the dark. Which will, what that'll end up doing, it'll save him a menu. All he will need to do is to menu down to the hammer. So it will save him an extra menu.
Yeah, and menuing is a big part of this game. You want to make as few menus as you can, and when you do your menus, you want them to be as effective as possible.
Well, remember, over the course of the game, efficient menuing can save you, on the order of minutes.
Yeah.
You can save a good 2-3 minutes with very effective menuing. So, yes, it's definitely one of those skills you want to have. Sefi making use of the fire rod in here again, having that. See, now he can line up those turtles quite easily, not having to guess where they are. So yes, that fire rod again, very much helping with that dark room. Bubu finding half magic in the chest before Argus.
It's not bad to have before going to Ice Palace, but not really what they're looking for.
Oh my goodness, I missed it. Bubu got a shovel.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that shovel, it can be quite trolly sometimes, and having the fire sword is deciding to do the mini boss here against Argus, switching to the hammer after each hook shot.
Well, we were talking about efficient menuing. Here's where it pays off.
Yeah.
Being able to quickly cycle.
Yeah.
And again, worth noting for Sefi's part, when he comes through here, he will make up time over Bubu just for the fact of not having to use the menu to cycle between options. Now, I will be interested to see how Bubu approaches Phase 2 of Argus. He has half magic. He has both rods. 4 shots with a fire rod or an ice rod will be enough to take Argus out.
Yeah, and the same goes with the hammer as well. You can hit Argus with a hammer as well, and that also takes 4 hits. Switching to the fire rod, so I guess we have our answer.
Now, Bubu electing to line up those shots, but now you can actually, if you are very quick on the button, In Argus, if you just have the fire rod, if you hold out your sword and strafe left to right, you can actually land 4 shots on a fire rod before Argus has the chance to jump again. So now Bubu lining up his shots, taking his time, and does get a very good kill on Argus. But again, a little bit of tech where if you learn how to do that, it can save you quite a bit of time, especially in that second phase.
And we saw Sefi walking to the pedestal, almost made it the entire trip, but then realizing, wait a minute, pedestal is dead, right? So why am I walking over here? Decided not to check it after all.
Unfortunately, that will cost Sefi a little bit of time, but again, that's at least he had the foresight to know that, hey, I don't need to check pedestal. Although we may never know what is on bed. Yeah. Until Bubu goes and checks.
Or the credits at the very least.
Oh, that's true. We'll find out eventually.
So I'm not sure if we saw all items in Feast Town or not.
I think we did on Bubu, perhaps, but I can't remember offhand. I know that Sefi will completely clear this out at this point. He certainly has. He's got all the tools he needs to take care of Blind. Yeah. I do not expect he will leave before Blind is dead.
Yeah, we found the mirror and the flute earlier, but I can't recall what the other items were.
Well, Bubu said his favorite item was the hook shot, and he's making very good use of that in that Pendragon room.
Yeah, they could be quite intimidating sometimes, but with the hook shot, they're quite easily to take care of.
Or I call it Pendragon's Pengator. Ugh.
I just call them green.
Please forgive me, diehard fans.
Bubu making a very nice Stalfos room there, taking out both Stalfos at the same time.
You know, I was reading his bio, and Bubu said he's really never messed around with NMG much, but that is exactly how you do that room in a No Major Glitches run. So he's performing that very well. Speaking of tricks you'll pick up in NMG, here we come to our favorite Ice Palace bomb jump. Now, interesting to note, if you use the sword to line up, because Bubu has Fighter Sword, he's going to have to add an extra pixel into calculations.
And gets it.
Second nice try. Very nice. Bubu taking out the hockey team room, moving on to the next one. Has a key, will probably elect a... I would assume it would have gone right side ice, but let's see what he does.
Yeah, taking a little bit of a different route to go to the right side. You will end up at the same place if you go this way. Just takes a little bit longer.
We'll end up, I believe, saving a key out of the equation, but yeah, again, very interesting choice going this way. Meanwhile, Sefi saying hi to everybody's favorite low-tier boss. Interesting thing to note about Blind, of course, I'm sure a lot of you know this already, but doesn't matter what weapon you have, 9 hits are required to take Blind out of the equation. Sefi making very quick work here, though. Just an absolute spot-on Blind fight.
Yeah, really good fight there, and just a compass from Blind, so that seals the deal. We definitely got all the items out of there when Bubu was in there earlier.
Blind didn't want anybody to know where he was, so he kept the compass.
I'm gonna see the hammer packs here as well, because none of our runners had the hammer earlier because it was on that floating island. So
Yep, and we are still on the prowl for ether.
yeah, it's a little bit hard when you get the entire map. Oh, never mind. There it is.
Well, hello, beautiful. All right, so it appears that Sefi, at 1 hour, 15 minutes, and a handful of seconds, has entered everybody's favorite mode, go mode. Now, logically, he still needs the lamp. I'm not gonna lie, but I have a feeling he has practiced that Meyer Darkroom, so he is, for all intents and purposes, in go mode with an asterisk.
And this will most likely mean that Sefi is never gonna find that lamp.
Now, again, I'm making a major assumption that Sefi knows that Darkroom in Meyer. Now, that's not an easy Darkroom, but I am making the assumption that he has practiced that.
They could decide to do Meyer last, just in case you find the lamp on your way there in one of the other dungeons.
True. We'll see very quickly if Sefi is going to not do that Meyer Darkroom, because he'll probably elect to just go mode this dungeon and not even pick up chests. But let's take a look and see what happens.
Yeah,
now,
we'll see. Yeah, go
Bubu's
ahead.
down at Cold Stare right now, with only a fighter sword. Using the fire rod to take out 2 of those puffs, but gonna have to be very careful on this last one.
Ooh,
Opting to swap
yeah.
for hammer. Oh boy.
Yeah, that makes sense. No magic. Hammer is your item of choice, and it does temper damage. And using the fire rods to take out 2 of the ice or 2 of the puffs earlier, so you don't have to worry about 3 of them running around you. But taking a couple of hits here is gonna have to be a little bit careful.
Indeed.
Okay.
Attacking from the top is going to be the best way. Oh, a 1 down to 1 hit.
Yeah, that was a very close hit there as well.
Oh boy.
So can afford to take damage from the ice falling, but only 1 hit. They will do 1 heart of damage right now, but a hit from the puff will definitely kill Bubu at this point.
Yes.
And there he goes down.
Oh, thank heavens.
So,
Again, very smart on Bubu's part, not trying to attack from the south there. Again, we were talking about that wonky hitbox for that hammer. Electing to make sure he's in a better attack position before going in for the kill there. So very smart thinking on the fly from Bubu. A very, very solid finish to that, and very much a white knuckle finish.
yeah, and very good use of the magic as well, making sure to isolate the first 2 puffs. So dealing with 1 puff with a hammer is not too bad, but having 3 of them at the same time with a hammer, that could be quite chaotic sometimes.
Absolutely, and that last pin gator being a bit of a pain for Sefi, but Sefi gets the kill and moving on here. Now, Sefi hasn't been picking up any chests, so I do believe Sefi is like, okay, it's time for a lampless seed.
Yeah, and both of these runners are 2 and 2, so makes sense that they have done some practice. And Bubu is now heading for Skullwoods most likely, and is finally gonna get that Master Sword.
He'll be very happy to have that. Again, we know where Ether is. Bubu needs to go check Peg Cave.
Yeah,
And that will put him in go mode. He'll be, well, still be go mode with an asterisk, but a little bit closer to go mode than Sefi, perhaps. Remember, we still we'll be in 95.454545% go mode, because remember, the GT Big Key could be on Torch.
Yeah, and I'm hoping for the runner's sake that it isn't on the torch, or if it is, that at the very least the boots are in Ganon's tower.
Absolutely. Sefi, using that potion, getting enough Fire Rod ammo to make quick work of Cold Stare. Very good fight on his part. That'll put him up to 5 crystals. Now, Bubu right on his heels at 4. No, yeah, 4. So Bubu shortly will have his 5th crystal. Again, slight edge to Sefi having the ether, but Bubu could check Peg Cave. It's not that far out of the way for him. So Bubu might be in go mode here very shortly.
The longer it takes for Bubu to go check Peg Cave, the more of an advantage Sefi's gonna have.
Sefi making good use of those deep pockets, getting 2 more blue potions. You got the money, you might as well do it.
Yeah, and Sefi also being able to do both Ice Palace and Swamp Palace in go mode. That's 2 very nice dungeons to be able to just go mode.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll see the Godmire. That would be very nice for Sefi. Help him open up even more of a lead.
And Feast time for Bubu will be very fast as well, because they just have to go straight to the boss, since they already took the maiden there earlier.
So while, like I said, Sefi does have the advantage this race, a little closer than it appears. Especially if Bubu elects to check Peg Cave soon.
Having sword beams in that Wizrobe.
I like that strat. Did you just see what Sefi did with the Cane of Samaria? I've never seen that in the Wizrobe room. I like that.
I didn't really see it. Did they place it in the middle of the room?
Yep, kind of adapting what you do in Ganon's Tower, using the Cane of Samaria block to kill the 3 Wizrobes simultaneously. I like that strat.
Yeah, if you place it in the middle, you can get all of them in one single go.
Absolutely. Looks like Sefi opting to check the spike floor chest first. Now going to go to the back here. Chat asking, what is a Godmire? Godmire, this chest that Sefi is checking right now, if it has the big key, that is the fastest potential finish for Misery Mire in go mode. Unfortunately, only finds a small key there, so this will not be a Godmire. And again, it's just a matter of all Sefi needs to complete Mire is the big key. So if he finds it in the first chest, it shaves a lot of time off the completion. Bubu has... Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was probably going to say the same. Bubu has half magic in this fight, and didn't really know they had any potions, so that's good for them, because otherwise it looked a little bit rough there for a while. Now they can just spam those Fire Rod shots again. Also, having Blue Main here is very nice. It's not going to give you any extra protection against the spikes, but will at the very least protect you a little bit from Mothula.
Absolutely. Sefi finds the big key in the barrier chest. So now Sefi going to be heading down to the bottom of Mire. Let's see how much Sefi has practiced this dark room. Again, this is, I would say, if you don't count Aga's Tower, this is one of the harder dark rooms in the game. It's still not terribly difficult, but you do have to know the setup for it.
Yeah,
the main... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
The main difficulty in setting up this dark room is making sure you know where the pressure switch is and being able to line up Cane of Samaria block on it. So we see Sefi lining up to the left, drawing his sword, and once he hits that left wall and can't move anymore, that pot is to the immediate right. So if he lifts that skull pot, then he knows exactly where the pressure switch is.
Yeah, and that was a very good dark room, and using the blue cane here to be able to be safe from the spike, and also it gives you a little bit of an guidance of where you are. It's kind kind of like the same thing as holding out your sword.
Yes, it does serve a bit of double duty. Bubu finds his Master Sword. He's getting closer to go mode. Just needs that stinking ether medallion.
Yeah, it's also gonna have to go up to Death Mountain again to grab that cane.
And we see Sefi doing a masterful job of the Dark Room in Mire. Very, very well done on his part. Very well done. That practice is definitely paying off. Now, here's a little bit of rub. Only has Master Sword, does not have silvers, but has 48 arrows, which is more than sufficient to take out Vitreous. 3 shots to every eyeball and 8 arrows for the big eyes. So you need at least 32 arrows to complete this boss if you don't have silvers.
Yeah, and making a very good job so far.
Oh, yes. Being very accurate in his arrow placement. Now, just for the last bit, 8 shots to the eye, no more eye.
Yeah, and here, very soon we're gonna see a little bit of a moment of truth from Bobo, seeing if they can remember that peg cave after finishing up Feast Town. That would
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, that would make this race quite close. Bobo needs to do Mire after that, which is a little bit longer than Swamp Palace, but anything can happen in Ganos Tower.
Oh, yes. At this point, now Sefi can go mode Swamp, which is a pretty fast go mode, bypassing that entire left side. Bubu just needs to go finish out Thieves Town, and then, like you said, finish Mire. Now, with the lamp, he'll have a little bit faster time because he won't have to worry about setups and whatnot. I would say if Bubu checks the... Oh, no, wait. Did Bubu already do Swamp?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. So, actually, yeah, all he's got to do is Mire.
Bubu, go up again.
No, Bubu, what are you doing? Bubu.
Oh, okay, checking... They hadn't done the Smith yet, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they're probably definitely gonna check it now.
Oh boy. So yeah, actually, with this, Sefi has to go mode Swamp. Or Sefi can go mode Swamp. Bubu can go mode Mire. So yeah, this is actually it's a very close race still. It's a lot closer than it looks, provided Bubu does not skip Peg Cave. So we're gonna be on the edge of our seats, making sure to see if he gets that. I'm like you, I certainly hope he does.
And if they have this equipment going into Ganon, Master Sword Silverless, Bubu has half magic. Sefi might pick it up here in Swamp Palace because it's one of those easy checks to do. But Bubu also has the cape as well, and that could be very useful on a Master Sword Ganon.
Now, I'm going to be interested here to see, he'll have to leave that chest behind going into the Peg Cave. He won't be able to take it with him. See? But there, he's happy now. He's got the goods. He knows what mode it is.
I think he's going to leave that chest forever now.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need this. I'm good. Oh, picking it up. Okay. Maybe he thinks silvers or a sword upgrade will be in it.
It could be. Still only on Master Sword, so already picking up the chest, it's not too far out of the way to check this one when having the flute.
Yeah, it's logically I can see why he does it.
So remembering to go up to Death Mountain to grab that cane before going to Mire.
Yep. Again, I give a slight edge to Sefi here, but this race a whole lot closer than it looks. I'd say by the time Bubu grabs his cane, Sefi will be a half to 3/4 of a dungeon ahead.
So Sefi checking those two chests in the back, then that probably means they're gonna check this chest as well, which has the half magic.
Well, again, remember you're sacrificing maybe 15 seconds a time, 20 seconds on the hopes that you'll get either Tempered Sword, which is going to be a massive time save on Ganon, or Silvers, which is also a massive time save on Ganon.
Yeah, so it's if the big key is early in Ganon's tower, that really makes it very likely that they will have Master Sword Silverless. It's gonna be interesting to see if they check any other chests in Ganon's tower. Most likely, at the very least, checking those 4 chests on the way up to Aghanim.
Sefi trying to do the double puff hook shot and then do a spin, not having much luck with it, so falling back on the hook shot and slashes. But getting slashes on both of those puffs, that's a pretty good little time save, actually. And of course, I'll be interested to see how he sets up phase 2 of Argus. Again, remember, now, you can do 3 fire rod shots and a sword spin, and you can single cycle this.
Yeah, getting 2 double fire rod shots, so that's a good 2 cycle.
Absolutely, that's a very solid Argus fight out of Sefi. It's actually going to equate to be about a full dungeon worth of difference. Now, do you know what time it is, Walt?
Yeah, I do believe it's time for some form of a game.
It's a fun game. Everybody's favorite game. We here on the Speed Gaming Networks like to have a little bit of a game. Remember we said there's 22 chests in Ganon's Tower? Well, guess what? You get to try to guess where the big key's going to be. So, enter a number between 1 and 22 in the chat. If you are subscribed to Speed Gaming Network, or if you have donated 250 bits to the cause, you will have your name placed on a leaderboard for everybody to see. So, get those guesses in now, folks. Walt, what's your guess?
I usually just pick a random number. We're playing randomized after all, so I just picked 18 this time. Where do you think it's going to be?
18? That's kind of a jerk place to put it. I think it's on 22.
It's a random. Oh, and you're talking about jerk place.
I'm just saying. I'm going to go Tile Room, everybody's favorite troll location. Like I said, I'm going to say 22 and Tile Room. I'm going to bundle 2 guesses in one.
Mm-hmm.
Not only am I calling a number, I'm calling the place.
Maybe someone is going to gamble tile room and we're going to see number 22 anyways.
Maybe.
So what route do you think they're going to take in Ganon's Tower? I could decide a lot of things, like if Sefi picks a longer route than Bubu, that's sometime they can pick up there.
You make a very valid point. From Sefi's perspective, it's an hour 33 going into Ganon's Tower. That's not a horribly bad time to have. It's not the fastest time, but he's got to be feeling pretty good. I expect he's going to go the traditional route, the first 2 on the right, and then going to go full left after that. That's certainly what I would do.
Yeah, that's a pretty good route. Yeah, I haven't really seen any of these runners in Ganon's Tower too much. Can't really say that I know which routes they usually take, but it looks like Sefi is definitely going to check those 2 first chests at the very least.
I think that's a very smart play to do. Statistically, it is the best, I believe. First 2 on right, full left.
No keys, so that kind of points them into the left side anyways. And now we're going to see if the torch is required or not.
All right, let's see if any of you jerks guessed 3.
Oh man, there's Tempered Sword.
Oh! That's funny. Oh my god, that's almost cruel. Well, we know there's an upgrade in Ganon's Tower. The only way it could have been worse is if that had been the silver arrows. Oh me. And yes, Ped is now officially off life support. It is deader than the proverbial mackerel. All right. Now, we're at 7 in the count. Now, here's an interesting little tidbit. If you're Sefi and you find boots in here before you find the big key, how inclined are you to go grab that tempered sword? I know I certainly would be.
Yeah, I think they definitely is gonna do that because it's not a big time loss to go grab that sword. It's not like you have to go all the way back to ice armors again. You just have to go down the stairs and pick it up, and that's most certainly gonna save you more time than it's gonna lose you.
Sacrifice 10 seconds to gain a minute or more.
Yeah, and Bubu is only having half a heart here, going for the Cane of Burner's stress to take out the last of these small eyes.
He's gonna have to be very careful.
Yeah, running low on magic as well, so this is gonna be a close one. No, Bubu taking a death.
Bubu! Oh no, that. Oh, you don't ever like seeing that. That is an absolute shame.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. It's gonna put them quite far behind at this point.
Well, and no resources, no magic. Yeah, it's gonna have to go refill on potions. Thankfully, plenty of money can buy tons of blue potions, but oof.
Yeah, and in the meanwhile, we see Sefi has gone all the way to Random Room, still not finding that big key.
Yep, so anything less than 13, completely dead. Now, with no boots, going to have to set up a bomb jump to clear this little gap right here. Fairly easy to do.
Yeah.
Unless you have a beetle on the other end.
Yeah, making the bomb jump at the beetle, pushing you off, so throwing a bomb at the beetle this time just to make sure.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, here, why don't you see what it feels
and
like?
another beetle comes and
no! Well, at least he took that beetle with him.
Yeah.
If I go down, so do you. Oh my goodness! All right, well let's see what Bob has today.
Just a little piece of love.
A little bit of love from Bob. Now, 3 hearts, 21 arrows. Gonna have to be very conservative with the arrow shots here.
Yeah, you can't miss too many shots here if you want to take them out with the bow and arrow, that is. And it's also gonna have to have more than 3 arrows going up the gauntlet as well.
Yeah, hopefully find a 10 arrow drop here somewhere. None doing yet.
Yeah, so it looks like full right, right side would have been the right play this time, unless it's on tile room, and in that case, I fully blame you.
Hey, I'll take the blame for that one.
So it's not going to have to worry about any small keys at the very least.
Speaking of 8 bomb drops, we've seen a lot of those this seed, haven't we?
Yeah, and we haven't really even needed them. Maybe just because we have seen so many of them. Like this seed started off with an explosive start straight away and have kept up a pretty good pace since this. There's a red mail and some arrows, which actually is really good right now. And oh boy.
I called it!
We have a tile room.
That is indeed the tile room.
I hope you like flying magical tiles, because we're gonna see 22 of them.
Oh, So, by process of elimination, if you guess 22 and tile room, or tile room, you have won.
And they checked. Sefi has checked everything in the basement of Cannon's Tower and still no boots as well.
And it looks like our winner today, Alpha Channel. Congratulations on your correct guess of 22. Sefi's not going to be happy with you, but hey, that's okay. We still love you. So congratulations. Wow, Alpha Channel's pretty good at this game. Looks like 8 correct guesses. So very nice.
Has all of them been number 22?
Yeah, no, he's guessed the correct big key location 8 times. That's very nice. Very, very good guessing. We have to take him to Vegas with us next time.
Yeah, I guess.
Now, starting the climb up Ganon's Tower, from this point forward, it is pure execution. It's going to come down to how much you've practiced these rooms. Sefi has 12 arrows, which is sufficient to take out these mimics. Gonna have to be kind of careful with the shots. Can only afford 3 misses.
Yeah, and there's 5 more arrows in this room as well, but takes them down, so I'm not gonna have to worry anymore about that.
I will be interested to see if Sefi tries to pick up a 5 arrow drop, because if he finds silvers, suddenly 3 arrows won't cut it.
Yeah, not like if you're gonna open the chest on the way up, then I would definitely agree about that. Like, there's no need to have 3 silver arrows against Ganon. Or I guess it's better than 0, but still.
Nah, it's slightly better. Okay, Sefi coming up to the gauntlet now.
Yeah, and Bubu is almost up at Ganon's Tower at this point, but Sefi has a pretty sizable lead at this point.
Is it that? I'd almost like to see Bubu make the ultimate gamble. Go tile room first. Like,
yeah,
like check the first 3 on right and get number 3 for the tile room.
If you feel enough behind, you could definitely do that, but it's 142 now. I'm not sure if that's enough to make you feel that behind.
No, I agree. 142, you're not feeling super far behind at this point.
Yeah, because
doesn't mean I can't hope for it.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is, like, if you do that gamble and it doesn't pay off, you severely hurt your chances of winning the race.
Very true. Like I said, it's more or less the ultimate gamble.
Nice 2-cycle on that Molas there from Sefi using the fire rod.
Oh yes, 6 shots from the fire rod, 2 for each land mode puts this boss to bed. So very good use of that fire rod from Sefi.
So Bubu going down to the first 2 chests, but has already equipped the mirror, so probably not gonna see that tile room gamble.
Well, it was a nice dream.
Yeah.
Now with no boots, Sefi having to be a little cautious in this room. You can't just dash right on through, but does very good job. Coming up to Wizrobe 2, gonna do an improvised 2-cycle. Gets the kills.
This room can be a little bit treacherous without the boots as well, but yet again, doing a great job.
Yes, very good evasive maneuvers on Sefi's part.
And not having the lamp, needing to use the fire rod to light these torches, is gonna have to pick up that full magic, I think, in order to be able to light the rest of the torches. And
indeed,
if it actually turns out to be a Master Sword Silverless, not having lamp could severely hurt your chances of getting the torch glitch, because you have to be on point to get it with the fire rod.
Oh yes, you make a very valid point there. Yes, having to do Silverless Ganon with the Fire Rod, you have to know the exact timing for it. Thankfully, there are cues where you can time that Fire Rod shot, and more on that when we get to Ganon.
Yeah, and so far, no more, no silvers or swords in Ganon's tower at all. It's up to the last chest. And, ooh, taking a fall there at the Moldar. I'm just gonna have to give it another try. And another fall.
Oh no.
Moldorm with a Master Sword is it's not super fun in this arena. Like, getting the hammer hits can be a little bit more tricky in this arena as well, compared to the first one.
Oh yes. 3 Master Sword spins will take care of Trolldorm here. And there goes round 3.
Yeah, Moldorm showing no mercy.
And Sefi's going to have to be very careful and try not to let this get to him. He still has a pretty sizable lead. But, I mean, that's easier said than done. That frustration can set in very quickly on this Trolldorm fight. But he gets it. 4th time is the charm. Down goes Moldorm 2. Let's see what's in our validation chest, shall we?
Well, it's not a sword.
Validation powder.
So yeah, not super helpful on the Ganon fight unless you can use the powder on him to make him transform into something. But I don't think so.
Maybe sneezing powder. Alright, Sefi pulling up to Aga 2 here. Bubu bypassing the tile room. Is going to have to come back and get that for number 22. Sefi gets a single hit. And a blue ball. That'll be up to 2. Still getting 1 shot every volley. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's that definitely gives you progression in order to get to that Ganon fight. So I think it's 4 hits so far, so needs at the very least 2 more.
Yep, he'll need at least 2 more.
There was 6-1, so my bad.
Nope, you're right, 1 more. And there goes Aga 2. Now, Sefi going to be approaching Ganon's Pyramid with about half health. I do believe he has potions in reserve, though.
Yeah, they have at the very least a red potion. Might be it. So they're gonna have to be a little bit careful in that case of their magic.
I don't think Bubu is too happy. I think he's realized the tile room is the play. Sefi getting a nice double spin there at the start. There's 4 spins.
Yeah, and I think they're into phase 2 now, and no, unfortunately not, because that was a really good position for phase 2.
So Ganon cooperating pretty well. There's 12. These will be 13 and 14. Now we're in phase 2.
Yeah, and a nice double hook shot there to stay safe from the magic bats, or the fire bats, I mean. Oh, they had a blue potion, okay.
And no cape, so really can't do much with this. He's gonna have to be very cautious.
Yeah, you can't do the spins with the Cane of Burn.
Oh no. Yeah, absolutely cannot do Cane of Burna plus spins. That's unfortunate. Great safety dodge, but
yeah. So using the blue potion, that leads me to believe that they might not actually have a red potion.
Yeah, I think he used his a bit earlier. So yeah, he's gonna have to be very careful, but take it slow, and he can get this. Same philosophy as on the Mothula fight. Sometimes slower is faster.
Yeah, so it's 12 spins for the first 2 phases each, and four single spins in the third phase, and I do believe it's 24 spins in the last phase.
Indeed, 52 total spins required. Basically, you take a deck of cards every time you land a spin attack, draw one. Once you've drawn the whole deck, you win.
Yeah, and almost into that phase 4 now.
Now, we were talking earlier about audio cues or visual cues for setting up when that torch is going to go out. You see on the left-hand side of the screen, the only remaining tile row. Once those go down, they go down in a cadence. Fall.
No.
Oh.
Sefi taking a fall.
Well, that may not be a bad thing because he didn't get torch glitch. But
yeah.
on that left-hand side of tiles, once that last tile falls, you know how they fall in a rhythm? Poof, 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 poof. After the last tile falls, if you count one more poof in that sequence, that's when the torch goes out. So it's actually a pretty good audio cue if you know what you're looking for. And shout outs to Felix TC for teaching me that trick.
Yeah, and shout out to you for teaching me that.
So shout outs to Felix.
Stocking up on blue potions here, you're not gonna need to use your money after you defeated Ganon, so might just spend everything on blue potions.
Might as well, everything but the kitchen sink. Little interesting that Sefi elected not to get that health refill.
Yeah, that's actually interesting, and also. Using blue potions, like they could have used a couple of red potions, because in the first phase you won't really need to refill your magic, but you only need to buy red potions if you want to save some money to go back, and that's planning for failure. So I like buying the blue potions.
I agree. And yes, chat saying with Silvers being on Death Mountain, the only place we didn't check was Mimic Cave. So, yep, that's where the Silvers are.
Yeah, that's a pretty long way to go for Silvers at this point. And Bubu is making progress, so this is still not over quite yet.
Oh, hey, yeah, Bubu's going to be hot on his heels. And remember, Bubu has the lamp, so he's going to have a little easier time setting up that torch glitch for Ganon Phase 4. And Sefi going into Phase 2 again.
Yeah, this is definitely the hardest part of Master Sword Silvas, I think. Fire bats, they're pretty hard to dodge when you don't have the cape, and so you can't really get too many spins in the same cycle unless you get a really good position from Ganon.
Yeah. The position he's in right now is about the second best position. There is a better one in that top right. It's pretty safe and easy to set up where you can consistently land double spin hits.
Yeah, the top one is really nice.
That's going to be the third hit of Phase 3. Sefi going to have to be very careful here.
Yeah, and getting some fire bats in that last... Come on.
His first priority, he has got to get that torch glitch. He has got to get that torch glitch.
And he gets it. So
good.
That's really good news for Sefi. He's going to be able to do the Silverless fight a lot easier with that torch glitch.
Best move here is to just slow down. He can win the war of attrition against Ganon. He's got plenty of potions.
Yeah. The only thing is when you're at Ganon and it's almost gone 2 hours, it's hard to be calm because you don't know where your opponent is.
Absolutely. I imagine Sefi's nerves are on fire. Remember, the Master Sword Silverless Ganon, this is the fight we all practice. We hope we never have to do. Because it is not a fun fight, ladies and gentlemen.
So getting about 2 spins per torch here, so that's pretty good. If they can keep that up, this will be over in not far too long. But
yes,
Bobo
Sefi in a very nice cadence here.
Yeah, and Bobo has now defeated Molarm too, so it's not gonna be too long until Bubu jumps into the Ganon fight as well.
Sefi's setting up for a potential 3-hit cycle here. With the Fire Rod, it is possible to get 3 hits per torch.
Yeah, striking a little bit too early there, unfortunately.
Again, I know his nerves are on fire, but it's very important to stay calm at this point.
Oh yeah, this is a good setup for triple there. Yeah, that gets the triple. That's a really nice one. So I haven't counted how many spin attacks they've gotten in so far, but
I've lost count myself.
It's gotta be pretty close at this point.
Yep, it's drawing down.
There's another hit. And Aga is down for Bobo. And there's Ganon down for Sefi.
What a fight from Sefi. Very, very well done.
Yeah, so this race ended up being quite close at the end.
Extremely close. And it looks like Sefi is going to be our winner in this race. Very good game to him.
Yeah, Sefi has finished with an official time of 1 hour, 56 minutes and 42 seconds. So spam your GGs. Oh, did you see that? The tempered sword was on the pyramid. Oh my god.
Oh my! Oh my!
That's incredible.
Oh,
anyways,
wow.
Spam your GGs in chat for Sefi.
Oh my god. Let's see if we can get Sefi in here for an interview. But, do you want to tell him about the tempered sword or should I?
You can do the honors.
Now again, Bubu hot on his heels, so Bubu will be finishing up very shortly, I imagine.
Yeah, and with that temper sword, this fight will be a lot shorter.
Oh yes, half the sword hits required.
So already almost in phase 4, just needs one more strike and there it is. Taking out the lamp, so preparing for the torch glitch as well. So even though they have temper, this is still a silverless fight.
Indeed, but silverless tempered, much easier to pull off execution-wise.
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, just to go show you that Sefi showing very good execution on that Master Sword Silverless. Bubu also showing very good knowledge of the Silverless fight.
Yeah, and we're joined here by our winner, SefiCompacto. GG's on the win.
Thanks.
So how are you feeling after that little spin and rear?
Well, I'm kinda almost dying inside.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I kind of think my opponent was ahead of me the entire time. And when I fell, I was done.
So, Sefi, you know where the third sword was. Of course, it was on the Ganon's Tower torch. Would you like to know where sword number 4 was?
Yeah, where was it?
The pyramid.
Wow. Really?
Oh yes, right out there, but still a very masterful job on the Master Sword Silverless. I mean, that's got to be a fight that was weighing heavily on your mind.
Yeah, actually, the fight itself wasn't the problem. My biggest problem with the fight was actually getting torch glitch.
Yeah, getting the torch glitch with the fire rod is definitely a lot harder than using the lantern.
Yeah, I had no potion, so I couldn't just spam the fire rod. I had to time it, and yeah, that's not something I used to do.
Yeah, and we're joined here by our second runner, BubuMC, finishing in an official time of 2 hours and 22 seconds. GG, Bubu.
Thank you.
Good game to you, Boo Boo.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah, yes.
your turn. Walk us through. How did you feel during that scene, Boo Boo?
Ooh, I felt good during escape. I'm glad I didn't screw up Burma. It's kind of hard to do sometimes. Then after that whole Death Mountain fiasco,
Yeah,
I was
we're joined here by
thrown
our
off.
second runner.
Then I got back on it.
BubuMC,
And
finishing in an official time
I don't know.
of
I
2
thought it
hours
went pretty
and
well
22
overall. The
seconds.
Helmasaur fight
GG, Bubu.
was probably the best one I've ever had.
Good game
Which
to
was
you,
nice.
Boo Boo. So,
Yeah, yes.
your turn. Walk us through. How did you feel during that scene, Boo Boo? All right, there we go. I think that'll take care of that. Echo. Oh my goodness, who wants to know what was on Ped?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
You're fine. Don't worry
I
about
forgot
it.
to turn off my speakers.
It was indeed boots on pedestal.
Oh, that's
Oh, was
Wow.
it?
that's incredible. Yeah, Sefi, you almost checked the pedestal, but then turned away. Was it because you realized that Ether could not be on pedestal?
Yeah. I checked pedestal on instinct. I was like, I'm here, I might as well check it. And just when I was in the same room, I was like, wait, Ether can be in pedestal. And yeah, I just turned away.
So I guess you two must be happy that the big key was in tile room instead on the torch then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also glad it wasn't at Ice Armos, because when I was about to go into that, I had 6 arrows and had to pull out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I'm just really glad I didn't have to go farm arrows somewhere.
Yeah, having Mr. Meyer as the last dungeon before Ganon's Tower, both of you had a little bit of a shortage of arrows going into Ganon's Tower, but kind of turned, so it kind of went well in the end.
Yeah, I went into Ganon's Tower with not enough arrows, and I was like, I'm not sure if I can get enough in the bots. But yeah, I had like 20 arrows going to the fight. Was close.
I noticed they said the arrows were at on Death Mountain. Where were they?
So as far as we can see, they kind of has to be in Mimic Cave.
Yeah.
That's the only location on Death Mountain that we didn't see.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, so this, see, more or less forcing you to do Silverless Ganon. I mean, you can always go back to Mimic Cave if you want to, but not the best or most optimal place to go.
I'm just really glad Tempered Sword was on Pyramid as well, because I really didn't want to do Master Sword Silverless Ganon. That's just awful.
Yeah, your opponent Sefi actually didn't check the pyramid, so they had to do Master Sword.
Gosh.
Worst thing is when I went to finish pot, I was like, I'm gonna check pyramid, then go pot. And halfway, I was going to the pyramid, and I just turned around halfway in the way. I was like, well, whatever.
Yeah, and speaking of a little bit of elusive items, the lamp, Sefi, was actually on the digging game.
Wait, did you do Mystery Mire Dark?
I didn't have enough money when I went to the digging game.
Oh,
I wasn't sure how much money it costs. I knew I had low money, but yeah.
I think it's 70 or 80, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's 80, and Sefi had like 52 or something.
Yeah. I forgot about the digging game after that.
Yeah, but it turned out all right in the end there, doing an excellent job of those Mr. Mire dark rooms.
Yeah, that was the best dark room Mystery Mire I've ever done. Was so quick.
So, with the conclusion of this match, Sefi, you will be rising to 3-2. How do you feel going forward in the tournament? What's on your mind as you head towards the next round? Like, what are your plans?
Well, I want to get into brackets, so I guess my plan is winning the next two. My execution overall was pretty nice this run, but my decisions were not so nice, and my mind wasn't. I forgot to check the hammer pegs, and I forgot some other stuff. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna do some seeds, some practice, trying to think better what I'm doing.
Yes, well, we will definitely be watching with interest as you head forward. Now, Bubu, you did a very good, very well-fought seed, unfortunately falling to 2 and 3. What about you? What are your thoughts and plans going forward from here?
Well, so both of my 2 wins are from forfeits, honestly. So I'm just hoping that at this point I'll be matched with people like closer to my level, instead of like Elminster or somebody like way above me, so I can actually hopefully, start being competitive with them, I suppose.
I see. Well, I tell you what, nothing to be ashamed of in that seed. You still performed very admirably. So again, very good game to you.
Thank you.
Before we wrap up, I'll start with you, Sefi. Any final thoughts on this seed or anything else you'd like to add?
Not really, I guess. The seed was pretty nice compared to most version 29 seeds.
What about you, Boo-Boo? Any final thoughts out of you?
Not really, except that I wish the swords had been more forthcoming, I suppose, but not much you can do about that.
Indeed. Well, good game again to both of you. Again, a couple of very well fought seeds. Very good on both of your all's part. Let's see if we can get their channels back in chat. Again, give both of these runners a follow. They are absolutely amazing. We thank them for giving us the opportunity to restream them, to showcase their skills. So thank you again to both of you. Shoutouts to our tracker, Iwakura Lane, and of course, shoutouts to my fellow commentator, Walther Four. Give both of them a follow as well, because they have been invaluable in us bringing this show to you today.
Yeah, and a big thank you to you as well, Jax, who's commentating this with me.
Yeah, thank you for the commentary and the restream and everything.
Yeah, thank you.
No, thank both of you as well. It's definitely a pleasure to come back to commentary. With that being said, it is time for us to wrap this show up. So, Walter, any final thoughts out of you, my friend?
Not really. I think you hit it on point there. And big thank you to everyone making this tournament happen. And looking forward to see some more exciting races.
Exactly. Well, again, broadcasting on Speed Gaming 4, this has been Jax, is commentating alongside my good friend Walther 4. Thank you all very much in chat for watching this with us. Again, shout outs to both of our runners and the crew behind the scenes. We will see you all at the next match. So y'all take care. Everybody have a good evening.